In her remarkable debut novel, The Bluest Eye, acclaimed author Toni Morrison delves into the poignant story of Pecola Breedlove and her parents, illuminating the profound impact of familial and societal circumstances on a young black girl's yearning for blue eyes. Like many inaugural works, Morrison's novel draws inspiration from a deeply personal experience. A close friend once confided in her, expressing a desire for blue eyes. This puzzling remark lingered in Morrison's mind, sparking a series of profound questions. Did her friend grasp the fact that such an unusual combination would brand her as an outsider in the black community? Why would she long for something that would set her apart? As Morrison contemplated writing about this thought-provoking theme, larger inquiries emerged. What societal conditions could prompt a black girl to yearn for blue eyes? What does this longing reveal about the society in which she was raised? These profound questions serve as the driving force behind The Bluest Eye, as Morrison seeks to unravel their complex answers. However, Morrison's debut novel showcases more than just intellectual ambition. The narrative seamlessly weaves together various forms and styles, employing shifts in time and perspective. Through the lens of a young girl living in an Ohio town during the 1940s, reminiscent of Morrison's own upbringing, readers experience the story through a first-person narrative. Meanwhile, other sections employ a third-person perspective, delving into earlier moments in time. The convergence of these narrative threads paints a vivid portrait of the subtle yet pervasive ways in which society can engender self-loathing in the marginalized and oppressed. It is important to note that The Bluest Eye tackles sensitive topics such as bullying, animal cruelty, domestic violence, and rape. Reader discretion is advised. Chapter 1. Yearning for Beauty, The Struggles of Pecola Breedlove in The Bluest Eye. In the steel mill town of Lorain, Ohio, the captivating narrative of The Bluest Eye unfolds through the eyes of 9-year-old Claudia McTeer. Alongside her parents and 10-year-old sister Frida, Claudia's world is forever changed when they welcome two new inhabitants into their home. Mr. Henry, a lodger who eases their financial burdens, and 11-year-old Pecola Breedlove, who carries a burden of her own. Pecola's family has recently lost their home to a devastating fire, and they are temporarily seeking refuge in an empty storefront. Claudia and Frida must now share their bed with Pecola, whose arrival is accompanied by a simple offering of graham crackers and milk in a teacup adorned with the cherubic face of child star Shirley Temple. While Frida and Pecola swoon over Shirley Temple's charm, Claudia remains aloof, harboring a deep disdain for the blonde, blue-eyed ideals embodied by the actress and her dolls. Claudia finds solace in dismantling the dolls, hoping to uncover the elusive allure that eludes her understanding. Yet, her actions only fuel a sense of shame rather than enlightenment. It takes years before Claudia develops a newfound appreciation for little Shirley Temple. Meanwhile, Pecola cherishes the Shirley Temple cup, using it whenever she can, and gazes upon the doll's visage with adoration. This obsession leads to a mysterious depletion of milk in Claudia's household, perplexing her mother. Pecola also encounters a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl on the wrapper of Mary Jane candies, yearning to transform herself into the embodiment of that image. For an entire year, she fervently prays to God, seeking the gift of blue eyes. However, amidst Pecola's stay with the McTeers, a distressing event occurs, her first menstruation. Unbeknownst to Claudia and Frida at the time, this marks the beginning of a tragic turn of events that intertwines with the town's eerie marigold infestation in the fall of 1941. Claudia suspects that Pecola is bearing her father's child, shrouding her existence in an aura of despair. The book also sheds light on Pecola's troubled parents, particularly her alcoholic father, Charlie, and her mother, Pauline, who displays favoritism toward her employer's white child while subjecting Pecola to harsh treatment. Pecola endures ridicule and bullying not only from white children but also from her own black peers. The introduction of Maureen Peel, a light-skinned black girl idolized for her beauty, further highlights the pervasive self-hatred and hopelessness that plagues the community. The taunts directed at Pecola by her fellow students and Maureen's hurtful comments expose the deep-seated wounds inflicted by societal standards of beauty. Toni Morrison skillfully examines the multifaceted factors that contribute to Pecola's desire for blue eyes. Cultural influences, with their portrayal of blonde-haired, blue-eyed ideals, leave an indelible mark on Pecola and the other characters in the story. This narrow definition of beauty reinforces feelings of inferiority and self-loathing among those who will never match the prescribed standards. Moreover, Morrison highlights the failure of Pecola's upbringing, particularly her mother's preferential treatment of the white child she cares for, which exacerbates Pecola's feelings of worthlessness. Chapter 2: Tainted Dreams and Broken Desires, The Tragic Journeys of Pauline and Charlie. In the intertwined tales of Pauline and Charlie, Tainted Dreams and Broken Desires paints a haunting portrait of their tumultuous lives in the novel. From early hardships to lost aspirations, their experiences shape the narrative with profound sorrow and longing. Pauline's life takes an unexpected turn when, as a toddler, she steps on a rusty nail, resulting in a deformed foot. Paradoxically, this misfortune becomes a saving grace, preventing her from slipping into anonymity. As she grows, Pauline develops a love for numbers and an aversion to words, finding solace in orderly arrangements of pine needles, leaves, and household items. Her skills in cooking and cleaning lead her to a job with a white minister's family in Kentucky, which she excels at until her teenage years, when her moodiness and yearning for romance begin to overshadow her work. Pauline dreams of being rescued by a mysterious stranger, yearning for a better life. Fate intervenes on a scorching summer day when Pauline meets Charlie, who playfully tickles her broken foot and captivates her heart. They marry and relocate to Ohio, where Charlie secures employment at a steel mill. In their cramped two-room home, Pauline feels alienated from the women in town who embody elegance with their high-heeled shoes and straightened hair. Yearning for acceptance, she indulges in material possessions bought from odd jobs, unknowingly straining her relationship with Charlie. The couple becomes entangled in arguments over frivolous spending and excessive drinking, casting a shadow over their growing family. With the arrival of their first child, Sammy, and later Pecola, Pauline's burdens intensify. Her once cherished husband and children transform into heavy burdens, akin to a crown of thorns and a cross. However, an opportunity arises when Pauline secures a permanent housekeeping job with the Fishers. Within their immaculate home, she finds solace and a sense of purpose as she meticulously arranges and maintains order. Praise from her employers and the endearing nickname, Polly, become cherished rewards. Yet, Pauline exists in two contrasting worlds. In her orderly and pleasant facade, she upholds cleanliness and orderliness. Simultaneously, her true self curses her husband and instills fear of disorder and impurity in her children. This duality illustrates the depth of her inner struggles. Charlie's journey is equally tumultuous, beginning with his abandonment at the tender age of 4 by his mother near a railroad in Georgia. Rescued by his Aunt Jimmy, Charlie bears the weight of his mother's shame and a sense of unknown paternity. Working at a feed and grain store after dropping out of school, Charlie finds solace in a brief encounter with Darlene, a girl he becomes infatuated with. However, their intimate moment is abruptly interrupted by 2 white men wielding guns, subjecting Charlie to humiliation and impotence. This traumatic experience fuels his growing resentment towards Darlene. Seeking answers and a sense of belonging, Charlie embarks on a journey to find his father in Macon, Georgia. However, his father's hostility and rejection further shatter his already fragile sense of self. Charlie's subsequent recklessness, fueled by guilt, shame, fear, and resentment, leads him to alcoholism and a desire for freedom from his burdens. Their paths converge as Pauline and Charlie enter into a tumultuous marriage. Charlie's ambivalence towards fatherhood and his own deep-rooted insecurities contribute to their strained relationship. The narrative unfolds in the present, where Charlie's inebriated return home one afternoon leads to a mix of repulsion, guilt, and pity towards his daughter, Pecola. He questions why she cannot find happiness, unaware of the love she harbors for him and the unconditional bond she shares. The weight of their fractured connection lingers, leading to tragic consequences. Ultimately, Pecola's desire for blue eyes becomes a symbol of the community's collective failures and their projection of self-hatred onto her. Claudia, reflecting on their misguided attempts to bring her luck, unveils the town's betrayal and their manipulation of Pecola as a receptacle for their insecurities. Lost in her delusion of possessing blue eyes, Pecola roams the outskirts of town, rummaging through garbage, forever ensnared by the repercussions of a shattered dream. In Tainted Dreams and Broken Desires, the lives of Pauline, Charlie, and Pecola intertwine in a tragic tapestry of shattered hopes, self-estrangement, and the destructive power of society's internalized prejudices. Summary: Pecola Breedlove lives in a society that is captivated by a blonde-haired, blue-eyed image of beauty. Advertisements, marketing, and movies make this image inescapable. Pecola is also made to feel ugly by black classmates who tease her for her dark skin, as well as by her mother, who carries her own bitterness about not being as conventionally pretty as other women in town. Pecola's father also suffers from the toxic self-hatred that permeates the community. He ends up raping Pecola as a misguided act of love. Pecola's baby dies after a premature birth. Finally, after talking to a local minister, who tricks her into poisoning a dog and interpreting its death as the answer to her prayer, a delirious Pecola believes she has finally been given blue eyes. Now, thank you for taking the time to watch, and if you found value in this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. And in case you want to buy the book, use the link in the description. Trust me, you won't regret it.